What it do? We lit, big dog. Hey, so today on Everyday Politics, we here. We about to get into Donald Trump's Donald Trump and Bad Bunny Super Bowl halftime show. This was a doozy. Now I'm not gonna make y'all wait very long. We're gonna get right into it because there was a lot going on.
Every frame of that Super Bowl halftime performance was packed full of symbolism and Easter eggs. I'm going to break them down for you. Having Bad Bunny, the first Latino to headline the halftime show at the Super Bowl, was a cultural milestone, showing that the language and the culture is center stage and not on the sidelines. So we hear the song Nueva York, which is a song about the Puerto Rican diaspora, and a lot of it concentrated in New York. And we see in that moment a family surrounding the TV watching Bad Bunny's Grammy acceptance speech. And then out comes Bad Bunny and he gives this little kid his Grammy. And I think that moment was really a show of support for immigrants everywhere and showing that one success is everyone's success. Plot twist. You thought that this was just going to be totally in Spanish, but here comes Lady Gaga, an icon, an American icon, singing in English, but with a salsa twist. Meaning, this is a performance about inclusion, not exclusion. We're all in this together. And then we see Ricky Martin come out, and you hear this guitar. That's a cuatro guitar. It's a traditional instrument in Puerto Rico, and the song is Lo que le pasó a Hawaii, which is a critique against American colonialism and gentrification of Puerto Rico. I think a lot of people were banking that Bad Bunny wouldn't speak any English. And they were all wrong for it because he did intentionally use English in one part, right at the end where he said, "God bless America." And then he proceeded to name all the countries in both continents of America, going in order from South to Central, the Caribbean, and North America, including Canada. And I think that that was a very powerful moment of unity, but also a clarifying moment on what it means to be American, challenging the United States notions that you have to be from the US to be an American. I think a lot of people anticipated that he would use a sledgehammer to drive his point home, and instead it was a scalpel. Everything had intent and precision, and he really leaned into joy and unity. And that in and of itself is an act of resistance.
What the right likes to call it, or the conservative media likes to call it, you're too damn woke. It's too much wokeness, okay? We don't need all that wokeness in the Super Bowl. We just want to watch somebody play some football, hear some good halftime music. We don't need all of America's. We don't need Canada. Maybe we want Greenland. We want Greenland, right? Let's get Greenland in. Maybe we'll go after Venezuela and Cuba next, right? Who says South America is a part of America? Looking at us. It's the Americas. Central America. So that's a good thing though. That's letting everybody know. That's why they say the United States. The United States of America versus the Americas. The Americas means North America, Central America, South America. And I can't remember exactly where the word America came from, but it had nothing to do with freedom, okay? It had nothing to do with freedom. But the word America, I think it was Spanish. I think America is a Spanish word. If y'all can correct me, maybe I'm wrong. But it came from the Spanish language. So yeah, he's Puerto Rico. If he's from Puerto Rico, he's from America. That's the craziest part. He's from Puerto Rico. He's from Puerto Rico. And they're acting like Puerto Rico's not a part of the United States of America. Puerto Rico is not the 51st state, but it's a uh it's property of America. Just like Guam and other weird places. But there are places that are property of America, like Guam, Puerto Rico. Um, it's another place that's a part of America, but it's not an America. It's not America. But yeah, America got its places. You know what I'm saying? They be tripping.
Here's what President Donald Trump had to say about Bad Bunny's halftime show. He called the show, quote, absolutely terrible, one of the worst ever. Bad Bunny's performance featured stars including Lady Gaga and Ricky Martin. He also delivered a unifying message, expanding the meaning of God Bless America to include all nations of the Americas, from Chile to Canada. Trump said it was a slap in the face and, quote, nobody understands a word the Puerto Rican rapper was saying. Trump's criticism comes just a week after Bad Bunny's historic win at the Grammys, where his album became the first Spanish-language record to take home Album of the Year. Here's what President Donald Trump...
See, that's crazy that they say it. He's from Puerto Rico. He's not from America. Donald Trump free throwing paper towels to the Puerto Ricans over there. That's great. Shout out to Donald Trump. His form was great on that, by the way. So here you go. Donald Trump's tweet is as it reads: the Super Bowl halftime show was absolutely terrible. One of the worst ever. It makes no sense. It is an affront to the greatness of America and doesn't represent our standards of success, creativity, and excellence. Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching from throughout the USA and all over the world. The show is just a slap in our face to our country, which is setting new standards and records every single day, including the best stock market and 401ks in history. There's nothing inspirational about this mess of a halftime show, and watch. It will get great reviews from the fake news media because they haven't got a clue of what is going on in the real world. And by the way, the NFL should immediately replace the ridiculous new kickoff rule. Make America great again, President. What is this guy's problem with the kickoff rule? Donald Trump has never ran a kickoff in his life. Matter of fact, he has flat feet, and he has shin splits, and he has turf toe, and he has something else. Why couldn't he go to the military? Was it because he had flat feet? Yeah, because he had flat feet. Whatever the case may be. Donald Trump, let's not go there, okay? Let's not talk about the kickoff. Like, kickoffs were the cause of so many concussions in the NFL, where these people are making millions of dollars, and they want to enjoy these millions of dollars with their grandkids. So if taking away the kickoffs is a part of that, then by golly, let that happen. Like, I don't understand it. I guess he doesn't understand it either. But nobody knows football like Donald J. Trump. Let's get into it.
The president took to Truth Social, and without mentioning Bad Bunny by name, the president decried the halftime show as one of the worst ever and an affront to the greatness of America, adding, "Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching." I'm going to let the president in on a little secret. Even those of us who speak Spanish sometimes don't entirely understand what Bad Bunny is saying, but it's about the music. Bad Bunny, who performs in his native Spanish, is an American citizen who grew up in Puerto Rico and used his Grammy acceptance speech a week ago to criticize his immigration crackdown. The Bad Bunny also decided not to book dates on his world tour in the United States out of concern fans attending his concerts could be targeted by immigration agents.
What, if anything, does this all mean politically, especially when you factor in the bipartisan backlash over that video that the president reposted, the racist image of former President Obama and Michelle Obama?
Yeah, the president has said he, of course, condemns the racist parts of that video, and he hadn't watched it far enough to see the offensive images of the Obamas depicted as apes, despite the video being only about a minute long. Trump also said his team took it down as soon as we found out about it, but that's not true. The video remained on the president's social accounts for approximately 12 hours on Friday, even as members of his own party called for it to be taken down. But the video and the halftime show remarks both call back to the president's recent history, raising questions about Barack Obama's birth country, or calling Mexicans murderers and rapists at the launch of his 2016 campaign, or questioning the motivations of a Mexican-American federal judge. Now, the politics of this show, that some of this can be good for the president politically, and he's saying all of it, of course, at the beginning of a midterm election year where there's already signs he's having issues motivating his base. The president.
So, well, we're not gonna call this racism. We're gonna call it bigotry, because he's not actually targeting Bad Bunny because of his race. Because he's an American. His race is, no, his nationality is an American. His race is Puerto Rican. Oh no, that's a nationality too. Is Puerto Rican a nationality? Or is Puerto Rican a race? What is a race? What is a race? What's their race? Brown. Anyway, his nationality is Puerto Rican American. Okay, we're gonna listen to this at the beginning.
The president took to Truth Social, and without mentioning Bad Bunny by name, the president decried the halftime show as one of the worst ever and an affront to the greatness of America, adding, "Nobody understands a word this guy is saying, and the dancing is disgusting, especially for young children that are watching." I'm going to let the president in on a little secret. Even those of us who speak Spanish sometimes don't entirely understand what Bad Bunny is saying, but it's about the music. Bad Bunny, who performs in his native Spanish, is an American citizen.
He's an American citizen. His ethnicity is Latino. Race is brown, or most identify as white or Republican. That's crazy.
I got up this morning and I watched it all without reading anything about it. I just thought, I want to watch this completely clean without anyone's view contaminating my brain cells. And I watched all 15 minutes of it. And I've watched every halftime show going back 30, 40 years. I thought as a piece of theatre, it was the best I've seen. Just the most extraordinary kind of Broadway on steroids piece of theatre. I also thought it wasn't remotely divisive politically in the end. His Grammys speech was, but his performance, I thought, was actually a lot of things which I would have thought people on the conservative right would applaud. It was about love. A couple actually got married. For real, in the middle of it. He was preaching about unity, not just the United States of America, but the wider Americas. What was the problem, Megan?
A certain male gesture is coming to mind, but I'm not sure I can do it on this show. No, it wasn't about what he was actually going to do during the middle of the Super Bowl performance. It's about him. It's about him being chosen as the Super Bowl performer, somebody who's been an outspoken critic, of course, of the Trump administration and of America and our anti-immigrant policies. This is long before the current controversy over ICE. He doesn't want illegals deported from this country. Well, too bad, because the majority of Americans do want that and are not shy about pushing for it. And that's why President Trump got elected. So he and his little buddies over at Green Day never miss a chance to bash the United States of America. I think those medications for your hip have gone too far. We need to dial back a pill or two, okay? We want something that we can all understand. I don't think Bad Bunny used his appearance to bash America, but I can't be sure because I didn't see any subcaptions on his Spanish language performance.
But what about Pavarotti?
They chose
What about
two
Pavarotti?
America haters.
What about Pavarotti, who Donald Trump in 2016 in particular would use at every campaign rally? He's used it at the RNC, right, as a triumphant tub-thumping anthem. Well, no, hang on. Not only Pavarotti.
I've been to lots of Trump rallies. Pavarotti gets a song, maybe
but
two.
He sings, but when he sings Nessun Dorma in Italian, I don't see you leaping up and down going, I can't understand a word of it.
7 years and counting since the NFL allowed a white person to headline the Super Bowl halftime show. And when you're talking about a sport where the fan base is roughly 70% white, there's only one way to understand that decision. It is a deliberate effort by the NFL and Jay-Z, whose company Rock Nation has run the halftime show since 2019, to exclude white people from participating in the single most watched musical performance of the year. Now, in previous decades, you'd have Prince perform one year and then Tom Petty the next. You'd have Aerosmith and The Who, and then you'd have the Black Eyed Peas. But starting precisely the same year that Jay-Z took over the halftime show in 2019, whites have been banned from headlining. And they've been replaced, in many cases, by non-white rappers who can barely speak English. Of course, they sexualize the whole thing, and in general, they reduce what used to be a significant American cultural event to a trashy, unwatchable display. And in fact, since 2019, over 7 years, there's only been one white headliner in that time, and that was Eminem, who performed alongside Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg and Kendrick Lamar and a bunch of other black artists. Aside from that, there have been 0 white headliners at the Super Bowl since 2019. Now, in some of these performances, they're fairly explicit about their goal. And we're not talking about subtle messaging. In fact, with each passing year, the subtlety has increasingly gone out the window. They did the Hamilton thing last year when they trotted out Samuel L. Jackson to play Uncle Sam, and they beat you over the head with that message that, of course, white Americans are keeping blacks down and all that kind of stuff. Every few minutes, Samuel L. Jackson would just appear on screen to really subvert your expectations. But even with this recent history in mind, no NFL Super Bowl halftime show to this point has been anywhere near as overt or as disgraceful as the gigantic middle finger to all Americans that aired last night. The NFL chose to conduct the halftime show for the biggest game of the year in a language that almost none of their lifelong fans can understand, while waving the flags of countries that none of them are from or have been to. It was, without exaggeration, the biggest FU that I've ever seen a corporation give to its own consumers. It was pretty amazing in that sense. Watch.
Argentina, Uruguay, Paraguay, Bolivia, Perú, Ecuador, Brasil, Colombia, Venezuela, Guyana, Panamá, Costa Rica, Nicaragua.
Now notice they don't even provide subtitles, just to really make the experience as uncomfortable and unintelligible as possible for 99% of their audience. Although in fairness to them, if they did give us the lyrics, we would see how retarded the lyrics are. So they didn't exactly want to put that front and center. So while you're watching a production that's all about glorifying third world aesthetics, complete with 2 men grinding on each other next to a pickup truck at one point, you also have no idea what anyone's even saying. So that was the idea. Again, in addition to being disgusting, it is a massive middle finger to the NFL's actual audience. But in the particular clip we just played, even without subtitles, the meaning is pretty clear. Bad Bunny is paying.
Wait, first of all, why would you replay that? And why are you watching this? I thought you were supposed to be watching the TP USA. Anyway. Listen, I'm going to just say this. While everyone was watching the Bad Bunny, you know the reason why it's not that white artists are being overlooked. It's just pop culture. If you look at the last 7 years since Jay-Z has taken over, it's been the leaders of pop culture that have taken over the Super Bowl. Whoever is the leader in pop culture. And I want to, Lady Gaga was there last night, right? Okay, what is she, white? Okay. I was like, who is that woman? Lady Gaga is the type of ugly that you only recognize because she's not even cute. But then she be, she like rich cute. Like if I had money, I'd be cute. I'd be like, is that Lady Gaga? Well, her cute ugly ass. But of course, you'll get if you put Adele out there. Adele's one of the biggest stars, biggest white stars in the world. She'll put everyone to sleep. Taylor Swift, she'll get out there. I think she did a few years ago. Or maybe she did. But Taylor Swift's time is coming. Taylor Swift's time is coming. But we need people like Little John, East Side Boys, and Usher. We need, the Nellies, the 50 Cents and Eminems, and we need we only got Kendrick Lamar because of the Drake beef. Because he won a Drake beef. I think I'll get sick. But who else did we have in the last few years? But I'm just saying, like, who are you going to put up there? Florida, Georgia line? They'll be pretty cool. But they're not superstars. They're pretty good in the country music industry. Not superstars, though. Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars, you know how many white people love Bruno Mars? Like, he does cocaine. What are we talking about?
Homage to several South and Central American countries and all of their many citizens who have illegally entered the United States. Which raises the question, how often does this kind of thing happen in reverse? Like, if you had to guess, how many soccer matches in these countries, El Salvador, Venezuela, Peru, and so on, have featured extended English language tributes to the United States during their halftime shows? How often do South Americans devote airtime during their biggest sporting events to thanking the United States for providing somewhere for them to flee to? How often do they insult their own people by bombarding them with unintelligible propaganda on behalf of foreign invaders? Now, the answer is that it never happens.
Wait a minute. Because we are all foreign invaders to America. This United States of America, this is no one's home but the Native Americans. So if we came here, we all brought ourselves here. Sir, Matt Walsh, I'm sure you have a Norlandic or what is it? Or Norwegian. You have a Norwegian or you have some type of Irish background. You're not from here, bro. So whatever. The point I'm trying to make is this is a melting pot of people in America. There are Spanish people. You know the Spaniards took over, like the Spaniards had, what was the Louisiana Purchase? The Louisiana Purchase was between the Spanish and the French. They wasn't over there talking about, hey, cook, I'm from Atlanta, this ATL hoe. They wasn't saying that. They wasn't, we coming down through this town, H-Town. And that's where the Louisiana Purchase is from. What are we talking about? Like, this is America's a melting pot of all these cultures or from around the world. African, by way of the Santa Maria and the Mayflower. Irish, Spanish, French, you know, everybody. Then you got the Chinese who came here, who were brought here for cheap labor to build the railroad tracks. Let's be real. America is not being real with itself. Or maybe it's just Matt Walsh.
This is the kind of thing you only see here in this country. Nor should it happen. No self-respecting country subjects its own people to these humiliation rituals, which is what that halftime show was. People who have self-respect take pride in their own nation and their own flag, especially at their most iconic cultural event, which is what the Super Bowl is. Meanwhile, people who are
Bad bunnies in America.
Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American.
For Hispanics who have been called the others, who have been treated like garbage, who the Supreme Court has said can be pulled over and stopped because they look Hispanic or because they have broken accents or because of they work at places where Hispanics and other immigrants work, because of all the racism and the bigotry that's been directed toward them. First of all, this had to be an extraordinary night. Say, okay, great. One of the most powerful institutions in America actually recognizes we are Americans. We are Americans. Second thing is, the NFL as an institution is bigger than any other institution in America, and clearly does not care what Donald Trump or the MAGA right tweets. They just don't care.
The NFL is smart enough to look at the guy who is the most streamed artist in the world and say, we have the biggest stage. There's no stage anywhere in the world at any time of the year where any musician, any group, any artist can command 135 million pairs of eyeballs. And the NFL says, hey, you know what? For our biggest audience anywhere in the world, let's pick what's the safe pick? The safe pick is the guy who's the most streamed, most mainstream artist in the world. That's, in some ways, it's telling Donald Trump and MAGA to go pound sand. But in some ways, it's just giving the people what they want. The data is pretty clear. It's also the case that we've got 60 million Spanish speakers in the United States. All this speaks to is that the NFL understands that its capitalist impulses are firmly in line with the choice it made, and the MAGA right is the one that's the force that is on the outside looking in. I will say, on top of everything else, whatever you think of the two last acts at the Super Bowl, whatever you think of Bad Bunny, whatever you think about Kendrick Lamar, they are two of the most exquisitely well-produced halftime shows I've ever seen. I don't know what I expected to see, but the combination of the music and the visuals and what Bad Bunny was singing a paean to here, which was to his heritage in a totally inclusive way. Every headline covering this thing was Bad Bunny's message of unity. And, you know, for all these people who thought, well, he's going to go out there and get political and he's going to say stuff about ICE. No, he did a very mainstream, beautifully produced call to everything that's good about how America sees its culture. And he shut up his critics in every possible way last night.
For Hispanics who have been called the others,
Hey, I just want to look up something about Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar has 26 Grammys. I'm looking up the Grammy leader list. Beyonce has 35. Sir George Solti has 31. Chick Corea has 29. Quincy Jones has 28. Alison Krauss has 27. John Williams, I don't know if that's who the fuck is John Williams. I don't know who John Williams is, a white guy. Has 26. Pierre Boulez has 26. Kendrick Lamar, it says 27. On another thing, it says 26. 27 27 Grammys. Yeah, let me see how many Bad Bunny. Because I'm starting to think Bad Bunny has 6 Grammys. So on the list of Grammys, let's see who they could put up here. Kirk Franklin, 20. Bruce Springsteen, who already played in the Super Bowl. Vince Gill, U2, who already played in the Super Bowl. Stevie Wonder already played the Super Bowl. Jay-Z already played in the Super Bowl. Kanye West already played in the Super Bowl. Like, all these people, Kirk Franklin, I don't know who Henry Mancini is, Al Schmidt, Pat Metheny, David Frost, Vladimir Horowitz, Pierre Boulez. They don't even sound American. So when we talk about these people who are performing in the Super Bowl halftime show are the top performers of their generation. Bad Bunny is the top performer of the world right now. Of the world. Who else you gonna put on there? Kid Rock? Kid Rock? Get the fuck out of here.
Muchas novias, hoy tengo una, mañana otra. Pero no hay boda, Titi me... Ey, 4 de julio fue el de July. Ando con mi prima borracha Lulay. Los míos en el Bronx, ¿sabes lo que hay? Con la nota en high, por huequito high. Willy Colón me dicen el malo. Ey, porque pasan los años y sigo dando palos. Vendiendo discos. Muchas novias.
How is it not just a message of intimidation when you're talking about how expensive is it to walk into a Super Bowl? You know what I mean? Like, you know, how much money is it to get one of these tickets? The idea that this is where you're going to go to catch people who had to sneak into the country?
Well, you can look at it that way, but if you're the president of the United States, think about two things. One is obvious in terms of the inconvenience it would cause to the state of California because of Gavin Newsom and his relationship with Gavin Newsom, which has clearly deteriorated, at least in public eye, over the last few months. And, of course, that relationship with the National Football League that I've spoken to you about on several occasions in the past. Now, with several owners, he definitely has befriended them. He's been friends with them over the years. But as I repeatedly repeatedly told a lot of people, and I've told you before, in 2014, he was looking to purchase the Buffalo Bills. He's had 3 attempts where he was trying to buy an NFL team. The latest was 2014, trying to get the Buffalo Bills. Price tag was $1.4 billion. Reportedly, he had $1.1 billion. And as a result, the NFL was going to nix it, and Trump called me at that time, spoke to me directly. And he said, if them MFers get in my way, I'm going to get them all back. I'm going to run for president. I am quoting. That is what he did. And so knowing the Trump that we know, seeing his penchant for being vindictive, for being vengeful, for being a bit truculent because he doesn't like how he's been rejected in any way, you can't put it past him to want to be an inconvenience to the National Football League.
Donald Trump approaches conflict like a professional athlete, with focus, dedication, and a team of neurologists ready to lie for him. So it's no wonder that one of his greatest beefs is with the National Football League, and he can't shut up about it.
Football's become soft. These new and very much softer NFL rules. Concussion. Up, up. Got a little ding on the head. No, you can't play for the rest of the season. What used to be considered a great tackle, a violent, head-on, violent, it's become weak. And you know what? It's boring.
Are you seriously watching football for the violence? Because the rest of us are watching it for the love of the sport. And also the butts, mostly the butts. Yeah, she gets it. She gets it. Also, football is still very violent. Are we sure he's even watching football? The games are so boring now. It's just 5 gay guys helping people turn their lives around. And what the hell is going on with Karamo? No aspect of the NFL is safe from Trump's ire. Over the years, he's threatened to fire their players. He uninvited the Eagles to the White House. He told the Commanders to go back to the racist name or name their stadium after him. Look, same thing. And who could forget his worst offense of all, calling Rihanna's halftime show an epic fail? Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, did I miss the Lee Greenwood halftime show where he rocked the Super Bowl while pregnant? What's that? Oh, I did? Oh, it was in 1981? And he looked stunning? Okay, my bad. And there's one other gripe he has with the NFL that he just can't let go of.
And speaking of football, maybe we can get the NFL to drop that ridiculous kickoff sit. What the hell are they doing? What is that? I watched the game the other day. I said, what the hell happened? They just kicked off and nobody moved.
Okay. That was the day before the election. His closing argument to the voters was they don't kick the ball from where they used to kick the ball. It is such a stupid argument that it took him all the way to the White House. Which brings us to the Super Bowl this weekend, and Trump's already been pre-complaining about the Bad Bunny halftime show.
I never heard of him. I don't know who he is. I don't know why they're doing it. It's like crazy. And while we're at it, I'd like them to change the kickoff rule, which looks ridiculous.
Oh, my God! Shut up about the kickoff already! Just watch soccer.
Yo, the kick look like he been kicked in the head a few times with this damn kickoff rule. Tripping. The women for Trump signs is crazy.
Donald Trump's beef with the NFL has left a lot of people with a lot of questions. But the question that has come up for me once again is, when is the right time for black people to protest? Everyone has a different answer. For me, it's right before lunch, because that's when I'm hangry, right? And after lunch, I get the itis. I'm not effective. But if you want to know when black people should protest, you've got to go right to the source. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin.
I think what the president is saying is that the owner should have a rule that players should have to stand in respect for the national anthem. This isn't about Democrats. It's not about Republicans. It's not about race. It's not about free speech. They can do free speech on their own time.
Is it not about their First Amendment rights?
No, it's not. They have the right to have their First Amendment off the field.
It's a little weird getting free speech advice from a guy who doesn't speak freely. My words are trapped in a prison of teeth. But okay, fine. I hear what Mnuchin is saying. He's not against the players protesting. He just doesn't like it when they do it on the field. You know, when everyone's watching. Yeah, do it somewhere else. Can you imagine Mnuchin giving that advice to Rosa Parks? He would just be like, hey, Rosa, why are you protesting on the bus? Huh? People have places to be. Take the bus to your house, sit down on your couch, and protest from home. Boom, racism solved. It's solved. And you know what? So the Trump administration is okay with protesting, right? They're okay. As long as it's on your own time. Unless you're ESPN commentator Jamel Hill, criticizing the president on your private Twitter feed, then that's a fireable offense too, right? Although I do understand where Trump is coming from, because Twitter is his workplace, so it's a different thing. But I get it. You do it not in public. Here's another example. Over the weekend, Stevie Wonder took a knee on his own time, in his own show. And even then, a former Republican congressman tweeted, Stevie Wonder takes a knee for the anthem during a concert. Another ungrateful black multimillionaire. Ungrateful to whom? I'm fascinated by that concept. People always say, ungrateful to whom? This idea that black people should be grateful is some sneaky-ass racism. Yeah, because when a white billionaire spends a year screaming that America is a disaster, he's in touch with the country. But when a black man kneels quietly, he should be grateful for the successes America has allowed him to have? How is that ungrateful? I don't understand. You know what would be ungrateful? What would be ungrateful is if Stevie Wonder got his sight back and then started complaining about colors. That would be ungrateful. If he was like, hey man, if he was just like, hey man, what the is up with pink? That's a garbage ass color. Be like, all right, Stevie, you're being ungrateful, Stevie. You're being ungrateful. Yeah, it almost feels like white people earn the money, but black people are given it.
They play a game for a living. They make millions of dollars. They're ungrateful millennial millionaires who won't stand for their own anthem.
I wish some of these players who get on one knee during the national anthem would get on both knees, and thank God they live in the United States of America.
Where they're not only free to earn millions of dollars every year, but they're also free from the worry of being shot in the head for taking a knee like they would be if they were in North Korea.
Okay, wait. You think black Americans are free from the worry of being shot by agents of the state? That's the whole thing that they're protesting in the first place. That's exactly what they're protesting. In fact, if black Americans went to North Korea, they wouldn't get shot just for being black. Just ask Ambassador Dennis Rodman. It wouldn't happen.
Y'all know we forgot all about this shit, right? We forgot all about 2020, what was that, 2020? Was it 2020? 2022? When Colin Kaepernick, no, it had to be like 2018, 2017, 2018. That was a long time ago. 2018, it had to be before the pandemic. When Colin Kaepernick took a knee. Yeah. And it was tired of the racial injustice by the police, brutality, and all this stuff. And it was just like, wow. Oh yeah, because it was Trump's first administration. It was 2026 or 2016 and stuff, 2017. And I think that, like, you know, that was part of Trump's hate towards the NFL and everything that goes on in it. And that's when he was saying the NFL is too woke and they're too soft and they don't do what he wants them to do because Trump wants you to do what he wants you to do. But the NFL shouldn't do what the players want them to do or how the players should do it. It's just...
And speaking of football, maybe we can get the NFL to drop that ridiculous kickoff set. What the hell are they doing? What is that? I watched the game the other day. I said, what the hell happened? They just kicked off
Football League, the USFL. USFL was a spring pro football league
that lasted from 83 to 85. Among players who came out of the league were Reggie White, Herschel Walker, Gary Zimmerman, Steve Young, and a ton of great players. And in 1984, after the first season of the USFL, Donald Trump, New York City businessman, bought the New Jersey Generals from an owner who lived in Oklahoma and wanted to sell. And in the lead up to buying the Generals, Trump football, spring football is great. I love this league. I'm so excited for the possibility. This is amazing. And the other owners are psyched. We got this young new millionaire who's going to buy the marquee franchise. Well, as soon as he gets into the USFL, Donald Trump says, we need to move to fall. We need to move. The owners are like, but we're a spring football league. And he's like, yeah, but we need to move to fall. And they're like, no, but spring football, that was the whole idea of this. He's like, fuck that. Spring is for pussies. We need to move to fall. And he pushes and he pushes and he pushes and he pushes and he beats people down and he beats people down and he threatens to leave if they don't go to fall. And he lies to the other owners and says he's met with the different TV executives and they all love fall. Like, it's all bullshit. And the reason he's doing this is because he wants ultimately his team to wind up in the NFL. And he thinks if we move to fall, the NFL will get scared and they'll want to merge. Okay. They decide to move to fall. And what they decide to do, and this is Donald Trump's idea 100%, is we're going to sue the NFL. An antitrust lawsuit. We're going to sue the NFL for $1.96 billion. Right? We're going to sue the NFL for $1.69 billion. And we're going to win because the NFL is a monopoly. The NFL is on all three networks in the fall. The NFL has been plotting against the USFL. We have the paperwork. We're going to sue and we're going to prove that they've been plotting against us and we're going to fuck them up. And the truth of the matter is the NFL was terrified. Because the NFL did have a monopoly on fall TV. The NFL was plotting to kill the USFL. The NFL was doing all these nefarious things behind the back of the USFL. But they decided to file a lawsuit in Lower Manhattan. And Donald Trump takes the lead. And from the beginning, it's a shit show. Ted Dietrich, owner of the Arizona Wranglers of USFL, said to me, people were fools to follow him. Donald Trump was looking out for one man, Donald Trump. And the first thing Donald Trump does is he hires as a USFL's attorney this guy, Roy Cohen. And if you Google the name Roy Cohen, you'll see he was a fucking diabolical, sinister, McCarthyism-era attorney who taught Donald Trump a lot about never admitting wrong, about just suing everybody. Like, that was his role model. And Trump hires Roy Cohen to lead the lawsuit against the howls of other USFL owners. But early on in the process, Roy Cohen is diagnosed with HIV. And Trump, being Trump, says, no, goodbye, kicks him to the curb. Cohen is like, no, I can still do this. Trump is like, I don't want some fucking AIDS guy doing this lawsuit. Kicks him to the curb. Hires another attorney, Harvey Meyerson, a.k.a. Hard-Hitting Harvey. Harvey Meyerson made $400 an hour. He was a obnoxious, rude, the worst kind of attorney, the kind of attorney you never want to see in court, not because he's not talented, but because he's a dick. And the USFL, one of the other teams, is owned by Jerry Argovitz of the Houston Gamblers. And Jerry Argovitz is a very successful businessman. And he's begging Donald Trump, don't file this lawsuit in New York. The courts are not going to be sympathetic to you. Filed it in Houston. Houston loves the USFL. And not only that, this guy, Jerry Argovitz, was friends with the best antitrust attorney in the United States, a guy named Joe Jamal, who would win one famous settlement after another. Argovitz is begging Trump, bring it to Houston. Let me take care of this. Hire my guy. Trump is like, Argovitz said to me, but Donald Trump put himself in control of litigation and said, New York is my town and we're going to win here. He also said, Donald Trump said to Jerry Argovitz early on, if we hire Roy Cohen, the NFL won't even hire a lawyer. They'll be so afraid they'll settle. And that's the same bullshit you hear now about, like, Russia would have never invaded Ukraine if Donald Trump was president because they would have been afraid of him. And people lap that shit up back then and they lap it up now. It's just insane. Life does not work that way, where you see one guy and a league or a nation is terrified. Anyway, they filed a lawsuit. It's a $1.69 billion in damages. They accuse the NFL of violating the Sherman Antitrust Act. Okay. And the NFL is terrified, absolutely terrified, because the NFL has monopolized TV, because the NFL has sought out to kill the USFL. In fact, they hire a company, called Legal Creative Services to run a mock trial before the trial. And this is what they do for a living. This is their gig. We do mock trials to tell you how it's going to go. They do the mock trial. NFL loses. And these people, Legal Creative Services, give the NFL the advice, settle. To settle. But the NFL, Pete Rozelle, Paul Tagliabue, they're like, fuck that. We're not settling. Not to these assholes. Not to that asshole. May 12th, 1986. Courtroom number 318, Federal Courthouse, Lower Manhattan. It's a jury of 5 women, 1 man. And in the lead up to the trial, the USFL, you have a bunch of different attorneys besides a head guy. They get all these NFL players to come to Manhattan and prepare for them to testify. We're going to call you. We're going to call you. Jim Kelly, we're going to call you. Chuck Fusina, we're going to call you. Herschel Walker, you. A bunch of the owners come. Jerry Argovich, we're going to call you. Name an owner. We're going to call you. We're going to call you. We're going to call you. All these guys are ready to be called in trial. Well, the trial begins, and Harvey Meyerson calls one player, very briefly, Herschel Walker. He uses Al Davis as a witness for the USFL because Al Davis hates Pete Rozelle. He uses Howard Cosell. But his star witness, the guy who's going to carry the show, is Donald Trump. And Donald Trump is the worst witness in the history of humanity. He's up there on the stand, and he's arrogant, and he's dismissive, and he's rude. And I interviewed one of the jurors, and she told me throughout the court case, she remembers Trump just staring the jury down, like trying to intimidate them. She's like, he was trying to intimidate us. It was very clear. So Trump is a star. And the NFL's attorney is this guy, 59-year-old veteran attorney named Frank Rothman. And Rothman's goal from the beginning was to make someone the enemy, the villain, because right now the NFL is a villain. The USFL was a little guy. And as soon as Trump started testifying, he's like, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. You have handed us our villain. And they used Donald Trump as a villain. And Trump, when he was testifying, was just full of shit. Lie after lie after lie. Swore that Pete Rozelle promised him a place in the NFL. He never did. My favorite was he said, and this is very Trumpian, he said, I could have bought a team in the NFL on multiple occasions. I had multiple opportunities to do it, and I never did. And it's like, no, you didn't. You're just lying. Like, he just lied. And it was so obvious he was lying. All these people knew he was lying. It's July 29th, 1986. Verdict is coming. It's 27 counts. NFL is found in the wrong on all 27 counts. So the jurors literally reading, the foreman is reading one after another after another. At one point, Pete Rozelle, the NFL commissioner, leaves midway through, gets in a taxi and drives off because he knows they're fucked. Well, then it's time to announce the damages. And again, the USFL is seeking $1.6 billion. And literally, Donald Trump is sitting there waiting. He's so excited. Harvey Meyerson, how much are we going to get? It's probably not going to be $1.6 billion, but it could be $1 billion. Like, this is going to be amazing. Damages, $1. Triple to 3 under antitrust laws. $1. Why? Because the jurors ultimately agreed the NFL was guilty of this and guilty of that. But whose fault was the USFL's struggles? Whose fault was the NFL fucking up time after time after time? Whose fault was it for the USFL to try moving to the fall, even though one person after another said don't do it, even though TV executives said we don't want you in the fall? Whose fault was that? Donald Trump. Donald Trump is sitting in the courtroom when the damages are announced. He's sitting next to John Mara, who's the son of Wellington Mara, the owner of the New York Giants. John Mara opens his suit jacket, pulls out a billfold, takes out $1, and hands it to Donald Trump in the baddest fucking move of all time. And that was the end of the USFL. Another game was never played in the league. All those players were out of jobs. All those owners were out of teams. All those fan bases dead. Donald Trump walked away, never really cared.
God damn. Boy, y'all be. So that's Donald Trump's long-standing beef with the NFL. That's his long-standing beef. This is what this is all about. That is what this is all about. He has to stick it to the man. Anyway, I had to share that with everybody. This Super Bowl was amazing. The game was good. Seahawks got the victory. The Super Bowl halftime show. I made it back from Wingstop just in time to catch the Super Bowl halftime show, and guess what? It just played in the background. I think I was doing laundry while the halftime show came out. Like, I was like, is there some damn, I did say, did they have any, like, was they translating the music anywhere or something? Like, what the hell? So then I turned on TPUSA's halftime show, and it actually extended longer than the actual halftime. So it was like a whole concert. And as the game came back on, like after the halftime show, they said 5 million, but it was at like 4.5 million people were watching on YouTube. So it might have been other people watching on other networks. I don't know. So maybe 5 million total. But 4.5 million on YouTube. Then after the halftime show ended on the actual football game, it went up to 4.8. And then as the game started, it went down to 4.1 or then it went down to 3.5. And so it was only 3.5 million people there who continued to watch. Even I turned it off. I was like, the game back on. Okay, I'm done. I seen the numbers drop just like everybody thought. Like, nobody's really watching this crap. It's like Kid Rock was. He was middle-aged Rock at this point. He was not that good. I was able to watch some of his performance because he was the last one on. He was actually on at the very end of Bad Bunny's performance, and he came on. So I was able to watch most of Kid Rock's performance, and I was like, it's garbage. It was on a jumbo screen. Oh, I wasn't watching a jumbo screen. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning back in. This actually went longer than I thought. I thought I was going to be out here in 30 minutes, but I had more clips, but we're going to leave it here. Thank y'all for tuning in tonight, and we're going to keep it lit tomorrow. Got more videos coming tomorrow. And y'all have a good night. Well, assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters.